How's it going, guys? We are back here on the NFL Cymru podcast. Myself, David, and Gito Williams here to recap week 5 and to look forward to week 6, including some. I'd say, Gito, that it's a major trade. I'm not sure if it's a major trade. I mean, it's a major trade for one team, I guess. Incredible to believe that this quarterback was starting for the Cleveland Browns, and now he's going to be starting. It's in the divisional trade, and on Sunday he's going to be starting for a bitter rival, that is the Cincinnati Bengals, who are, well, my God, look like a shadow of themselves without Joe Burrow, and they were absolutely humbled by the team that's rising more than any other team in the NFL at the moment, I believe. That is the Detroit Lions. We'll recap that game and many other very, very shortly. However, Gito, Joe Flacco, should we start there? Do you think that was the best option for the Bengals? I mean, obviously, I happened to catch the fourth quarter and I saw how Jake Browning was playing. Although they did have a revival at the end of the fourth quarter, ultimately he threw three touchdowns. However, he threw 3 picks as well, and at times the Bengals O-line were completely all over the place. So not surprising really that they went out to grab another QB.
Probably not a surprise, but in terms of who was the best options for this team, it's more who can they afford after they splashed the cash on their star
Absolutely.
wide receivers and everything. So, yeah, Joe Flacco, he's moved to the Bengals, who was previously dropped as well just before the week.
Yeah, he was benched. Yeah.
He was benched, and it was Dylan Gabriel that took his place. It'd be interesting now to see the Browns situation with Dylan Gabriel and Shadir Sanders being QB2. We will get to the Browns in just a moment, but yeah, I was quite surprised by this move. But I think we mentioned it in the last episode or two. When teams are looking for a new quarterback, I'm not quite sure who's actually quite on the market so far. Who some teams can actually afford as well, especially the Bengals.
Yeah.
So obviously, it's definitely a short term. Will this be
Yeah.
Flacco's last team? Yeah, does he have another full
Surely.
season, or this is his last hurrah? Even if he does perform well, and with Joe Burrow likely, possibly might be playing in December, depending on the situation of the team. What they're going to do if Flacco plays well and Joe Burrow comes back healthy, who knows? But yeah, a bit of a. I was quite surprised by the news, but I think the Bengals had to do something with that QB room. Um, and he's starting as well
Yeah.
this week.
Yeah.
He is going to be starting straight away. You mentioned just before the pod how many plays is he going to learn between yesterday's news and Sunday's big game against the Green Bay Packers. Another tough test for the Bengals defense there against a high flying Green Bay Packers, I would admit. So yeah, a big test for Flacco to change things around in Cincinnati.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he was benched by the Cleveland Browns
Hmm.
um, after having a pretty poor start to the season. I mean, let's be honest, Joe Flacco is basically a statue back there in the pocket, isn't he?
Yeah.
He can hardly move. He reminds me a lot of when Ben Roethlisberger was coming towards the end of his career as well. It's interesting to see that he's moved on to his third NFC North team, because
Hmm.
he was with the Ravens for almost 10 years,
Yeah.
switched to the Cleveland Browns. Ultimately, when he got the starting job when Deshaun Watson went down, he did take them to the playoffs, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then obviously the Browns drafted Dylan Gabriel and Shadur in this year's NFL draft. Um, Dylan Gabriel made his first start over in London. It was in vain. It was a last minute loss to the Minnesota Vikings. However, they are clearly making a youth movement, and they're gonna pursue that. And it's going to be very, very interesting to see. There's a lot of pressure on Dylan Gabriel now. Are they going to be forced to turn to Shadur as well? within, if things go down the pan per se. But back to Joe Flacco, Guitar. I'm extremely surprised that, I mean, the QB situation over in Cincinnati must be so bad, that the fact that Flacco is traded and within 5 days, like you said, not only is he starting, he's starting away at Lambeau to Green Bay,
Yeah,
probably one of the most intimidating places to go. Um, so maybe this is the Cincinnati faithful, or the backroom staff saying, "Well, literally, we're throwing caution to the wind here," because as we know, they've spent way too much money on their offense. Although their O line is absolutely terrible at the moment, can't keep their QB upright, and ultimately that's why he's out for the well, he's out for at least 3 months, isn't he? Until
yeah,
Christmas at
yeah,
least. Let's be honest, Gito, realistically, the Bengals aren't going to be relevant. I think we won't see Joe Burrow until next season, and I think that's for the best as well, because he's starting. I think I've said this before. He's starting to become a little bit injury prone. This is going to be the third season that he's lost in his 6 seasons. And we all know the talent that Joe Burrow has. Obviously, the NFL is better when he is healthy, and when the
yeah.
Cincinnati offense
Mm.
is flying off colors. But Gito, I really fear for the Bengals in this game. I don't see them getting their operations ready in 5 days. I think it's going to be. Yeah, I fear the worst. I wouldn't be surprised if this is an absolute hammering, because Green Bay, you have to remember, they've lost two in a row as well. Or sorry,
Mm.
they've lost one and they've had that tie against the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So they're looking to regain their form after starting 2-0, and especially coming back home to Lambeau as well. I genuinely fear the worst for them. So I think that's enough about Joe Flacco. We'll kind of see, we'll have to see what happens in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
In terms of week 5, Guitar, where do you want to start? There were some key matchups,
Mm.
mostly to note. Should we start off with a really impressive win for the Jaguars on Monday night against the Chiefs?
Did you see that game-winning touchdown from Trevor Lawrence?
What
Talk
when
about
he
luck.
stumbled?
Talk about luck. And he definitely need it sometimes when you play against the Chiefs. Obviously, the
Mm.
Chiefs are not themselves this season. There's something off.
No.
But I mean, not take away nothing from the Jaguars. They pretty much deserved the win that game. And obviously, watching the clip from the locker room after the game, obviously that's what every team wants to be in. They want to beat the top teams, be a contender. The Jaguars are 4-1. They could potentially be five and
Wild.
one heading into London next week against the Rams. The Rams, who are also a very top team as well. So we have two top teams in London. That's got to be an
Mm.
incredible fixture that
Brilliant.
nobody thought it would be when it was first announced. But yeah, great win from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Travis Hunter had a brilliant game as well. He did that. Did you see his unbelievable catch against two defenders? It looked like he
I
did like a
did.
spinning, like a backflip of some sort, but he managed to land it and catch the ball. But yeah, no, a very impressive win on Monday night on prime time for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I believe it was their first win against the Chiefs since 2009 or 2007.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm not
So,
I'm not I'm not quite sure, but it's been, yeah, I know that it's been a while.
mm,
Um I think, like you said, there's definitely something off about the Chiefs. There's something happened to their defense. Their defense is just not firing at all at
mm,
the moment. Um, and Jacksonville exposed their cornerbacks ultimately.
yeah,
There were many deep balls. That was good. You mentioned the one to Travis Hunter. There was another one to Brian Thomas, who, let's be honest, has had a really quiet start to his
yeah,
second season after having such a successful rookie year. He was definitely one to watch. But a few bombs, fair play from. This is the best that I've seen Trevor Lawrence play throughout his 5 year career. I think this is year 5 for him now, and
yeah.
I think we said at the beginning of the season that this is his prove it year. So
Mm,
far, so
so
good.
good. Yeah.
However, we have to remember that the Chiefs ultimately they shot themselves in the foot. Um, an incredible pick six. What was it? Over a 90-yard pick six from Devin Lloyd.
Yes.
Um,
99.
the
99
Chiefs were
yards. Just good.
driving.
The fall. Yeah.
99 yards, exactly. They were driving at the 5 yard line.
Hmm.
Um, I think Mahomes was trying a short pass to potentially Kelsey, who was on the goal line. Um, and like you said, pick six by Devin Lloyd, who was defensive player of the year, defensive player of the week last week.
Hmm.
And he's backed it up again this week. So the Jags, yeah, fair play to them. Who thought, Guitar, that the Jags and the Colts would be 4-1? Incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. Indiana Jones, he's doing the work for the Colts as well. They got an impressive win against the Raiders this week as well. They pretty much smashed the
Oh,
Raiders this week. So, but yeah, we said like at the beginning, just before the regular season, that there was a this season for the Jaguars is a point to prove, like the final chance, because obviously they've fallen,
yeah,
they've made the playoffs in the last 5 years, but they've fallen off in the last 2 3 seasons. So, this was
yeah,
and obviously with the stock of Trevor Lawrence going down slightly, this was his year to prove himself. And he's doing the work so far. He's looking really good for the Jaguars. I can't remember
yeah.
off the top of my head who they've got this week, unless it's a bye week. I don't remember. But there'll be the Jaguars fans here in the UK. They'll be looking forward to watching them against the top team against the Rams. That's going to be a really brilliant game to watch in 2 weeks.
Oh, I was going to say, what a game that's going to be.
Yeah,
That's the best case scenario for the NFL, for a London game, for a primetime game. You've got two, like you said, high flying teams, and
yeah,
I'm sure Wembley's going to be absolutely rocking next Sunday,
mm,
regardless of what happens this week. So let's move on. Get to, before week 5, there were two undefeated teams: the
mm,
Eagles in the NFC and the Bills in the AFC, and thankfully, from a Dolphins point of view, because the undefeated season still remains. The 1972 Dolphins. We have a celebration every single year when every single team loses in the NFL.
yeah,
But they both lost. They both lost. They both lost at home. The Broncos beat the Eagles, and the Patriots went into Orchard Park and defeated the Bills. Now, I think I said just before the pod, Guitar, I'm not surprised that the Bills lost.
mm,
There have been warning signs. They narrowly beat the Dolphins, who are a very very poor team. We're not going to talk about the Dolphins tonight, guys. I do apologise. If I start, I will rant and I'll get ultimately angry. I told Gito at the beginning of the pod, we're not going to talk about the Dolphins until they're relevant, and that might not be until next season. So I'm going to park that there. However, they narrowly defeated the Saints, another 1-4 team who had a brilliant win against the Giants, by the way.
yes.
Congratulations to them. Big shout out to the Saints. Well
Mm.
done. And then how about the Broncos going into Philadelphia and beating the Eagles? Gitta, what's the most impressive win for you? Broncos going in to defeat the Eagles or Pats over Bills?
Oh, yeah, no, two unbelievable wins. I watched most of the Broncos Eagles game, and
Mm.
the Broncos defense was immense in that game. I think we've,
Yeah, they showed up.
yeah, they're a young, good defense. Well, they're not quite young. I think they're young O line, but defense is very experienced in there, so it is looking really, really good.
Yeah,
And obviously, I was nervous because it was a field goal that won the game, I believe, and I was really nervous. In Eagles fashion, they were going to block it and then go to maybe overtime or make it run for a pick six or a kick six. But it wasn't to be. I was so happy to see that the Broncos actually won that game. A very,
yeah.
very top team in the AFC, and you
Mm.
know they'll be challenging the Chiefs. They're playing them in the next few weeks. I'm looking forward to that game. That's going to be an open game. So well done to the Bengals, who will be heading to London this weekend against the Jets, which we'll be
Yes.
diving into a little bit later on.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
the New England Patriots. I'm a big fan of the Patriots this season. I've enjoyed. I've think they've done a pretty good job in the off season with the free agency in the draft. They've got a really good, quite good running back. Their main running back is injured now for the rest of the season.
He
So
is.
I think this is time for Trevelyan Henderson, who's had a couple of drives, but his time to
Yeah,
shine now because he's had a decent. He was the one to watch during the draft. So and I drafted him in my fantasy as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing him pick up some points for myself for the league. But yeah, the Bills, yeah, narrow win against the Saints. Finally got that first loss. They got shown, really. So, a little bit confident for us in the next game, but we'll dive into that later on as well. But the New England
Yeah,
Patriots, I'm a big fan of Drake May. He's a really good quarterback, and yeah, no, it was in I believe it was at the Buffalo Stadium as well in
it
Buffalo.
was.
Yeah,
It
so
was.
no, really good win there for the Patriots.
Well, how about this, Gito? I decided that I was going to draft Stephon Diggs in my fantasy league, and lo and behold, what happens? Ultimately it was his revenge game going
Yeah.
into Orchard Park against his former team, the
Yes.
Bills, who,
Yes.
let's be honest, they left on less than friendly terms when
Mm.
when he was traded to the Houston Texans a couple of years ago. But
Yeah.
he went back there. He got, I believe it was 135 yards against the Bills. And Gito, a big talking point for me. Did you know that the Bills are 31st in run defense? 32nd, sorry, in run defense. They have the worst run defense in the NFL.
Mm.
I think that their defense is very, very vulnerable at the moment.
Mm.
Um, and ultimately, Josh Allen, I've seen a lot of videos popping up after that Monday night game, showing examples of Josh Allen missing wide open receivers. Um, so they could be there for the taking. Obviously, the good thing for the Bills is in their division, they have the 0-5 Jets, they have the 1-4 Dolphins, and the Patriots are 3-2 at the moment. They're looking likely, maybe not likely that they're going to challenge for the division, but at least they're going to give them a solid game.
Yeah.
Whereas the Dolphins and the Jets are just, I guess you can cross four easy wins there. However, compared to other AFC teams, at the moment, especially with their defense leaking, I don't see the Bills going deep into the playoffs at the moment. But obviously, there's a long way to go with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and another thing that I'll have to say about the Broncos guitar is Sean Payton as well, a really, really well coached team,
Yeah. Mm.
especially on the defensive side. And ultimately, they exposed the Eagles. The Eagles, I think we've warned over the last couple of weeks on the pod, they haven't been they haven't been looking their normal selves, especially on offense. Jalen Hurts has been barely throwing for over 100 yards in a game. Saquon Barkley is averaging less than 3 yards per carry at the moment. And AJ Brown has stated it, on social media that he's unhappy with his targets as well.
Mm.
So yeah, the Eagles are, I wouldn't say a bit of a mess because they're 4-1. Um, but yeah, it's just brilliant for the NFL that on any given day, any single team can beat everyone, and that's what we absolutely love about this game. Obviously, so no undefeated teams so far going into week 6. Another statement win, Getter. We have to talk about the Texans win over the Ravens. Obviously, I feel really really bad for the Ravens because
Mm.
they've been so unlucky in terms of injuries. Obviously, without Lamar, however, obviously, and on defense as well. But Derek Henry looks a shadow of himself at the moment, and
Yeah.
I really really did. I mean, we predicted the for the Ravens to win even at home, with their backup quarterback, but the Texans gave them an ass whooping, didn't they?
They did. This is a The Ravens the last few years have been one of the strongest team in the NFL. I think they're a strong team. They're
Mhm.
a physical team. This is a beaten and bruised up Ravens team here. Obviously,
Yeah,
they've got injuries to the main stars, the main players. Their defense, obviously, they're missing some key players, and it's not clicking. So, I wasn't all surprised that the Texans did win them, but 44 points to 10.
yeah.
They were all over them. The Texans. CJ Stroud, he did incredible in that game. Um, but yeah, it's a broken, beaten up Ravens. The only positive note is obviously this is their last game before the bye week, so they'll have a week's rest at
Yeah.
least. They've got a big game this week against the LA Rams, so going into
Doesn't
week
get any easier, does it?
going into
Yeah.
week 7, they could be 1-5. They're one and
I know.
five, which is unheard of for the Ravens in the last few years. Obviously, they lost the opening games a few times here, maybe two in a row, but for this Ravens team to be 1-5, it's looking a bit troubling. 1-4, depending what they do against the Rams. But if they don't get anything against the Rams, they can be in big trouble. They've got a long way
Yeah.
to catch up, I think, as well, with the other teams performing as they are so far. So not looking good for the Ravens at the moment.
Yeah, like you said, if they do fall to 1-5, you're basically saying that you're not going to win the division.
Mm.
Well, they have to win every single game, I think,
Yeah.
in order to win the division at 12-5, even 11-6, with the
Mm.
way that the Steelers are going at the moment. Um, yeah, that's a really, really strange conference at the moment. That division, the AFC
Yeah.
North, like
Mm.
obviously dealing with injuries. You've got Joe Burrow out, you've got Lamar out, a change of QB in Cleveland as well, and things are going okay for the Pittsburgh Steelers at the moment. But I'm still not convinced that they're gonna be a top side towards the end of the season. And one injury to Aaron Rodgers, and then the season goes, down the plug for them as well. So, like you said, so they are playing the Rams. It doesn't get any easier, does it? And
No.
then they get their bye, and then I think in week 8 Lamar will be back,
Yes.
and they will be travelling to face the Dolphins, obviously when he returns, and that's probably when they'll start winning again. But yeah, there's deep rooted problems here, and Gito, I've heard whispers as well around the NFL that this might be John Harbaugh's last season as head coach after
Wow.
being head coach for over 15 years and winning 2 Super Bowls.
Mm.
Because ultimately, like you said, they've had one of the best teams, one of the best rosters over the last 3 or 4 years under
Yeah.
Lamar, and they've choked when it comes to playoff time.
Yeah.
Either getting to the divisional round or getting to the AFC conference game. Ultimately, they've never been able to beat the Chiefs and get to the Super Bowl. So clearly, there needs to be a change of leadership there. And if John Harbaugh is available, oh my God, I would snap him up right away because I think he's absolutely phenomenal coach. So there might be a change of guard going there over there in Baltimore. We'll have to wait and see on that. But yeah, absolutely statement win there for the Texans. Fair play because
Yeah.
they started 0-2 as well. So they kind of and obviously in their division they've got 2 4-1 teams. They're behind the Jags and the Colts as well. So they're playing catch up as well. So Gito, shall we move on to upcoming games in week 6? Shall we go?
Yes.
Shall we go to five of the week?
Yeah. We'll go through our 5 of the week. I'll let you go first, Abed.
Um, I think the standout game here surely is Lions at Chiefs on
Yes.
Sunday Night
Mm.
Football. I
Sunday
mean,
night.
the Chiefs are 2-3. I don't see the Lions losing this game, even at
Mm.
Arrowhead. So we're talking about potentially the Chiefs going 2-4.
Yeah.
Um, and then the division. I believe the Broncos and the Chargers, as it stands, are 3-2 as well,
Mhm.
and the Las Vegas Raiders are an absolute shit show at the moment. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
They're an absolutely terrible team, bottom five, and then yeah, we're going to come to our rankings at the end of the game, end of the pod. But yeah, I think I said I saw a little bit of the fourth quarter of the Lions at the Bengals last Sunday, and oh my God, their offense is absolutely phenomenal. They've got their dual running backs, Montgomery and um, Jameer Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's guaranteed 100 yards every single game.
Yeah.
The O line is just absolutely blasting people off the line as well. And I love the play calling. I think the play calling is absolutely fantastic. Sam Laporta got a touchdown as well. It was just way, way, way too comfortable for the Lions on Sunday. And obviously the Chiefs will be absolutely, you know. Yeah, well, I mean, this is kind of an unprecedented territory for the Chiefs.
Hmm.
They're still going to be without Rashi Rice for another game. I believe he'll be back week 7. Um, Kelsey has been getting a few more targets than we usually see, and maybe he's been forced to because of the lack of weapons that Mahomes has at the moment. But clearly, everything is catching up. The thing that I'll be watching it on is the biggest matchup for me is the Lions' offense against the Chiefs' defense, who just yeah, like you said at the beginning, there's definitely something off in terms of the Chiefs' defense at the moment.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I don't see the Lions losing this one. They're
Yeah,
probably the best team in the NFL right now. Probably the best team
absolutely.
in the NFL in the last two seasons, despite not them making the Super Bowl last season.
Yeah,
But that regular season they had last season was it 15-2, just immense. I can see them doing the same record again, maybe
yeah,
14-3. I don't know, but yeah, they're the top team at the moment. Obviously, Arrowhead, one of the noisiest stadium in the NFL, but the Lions will be bringing in the noise with them, and yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I think they're too good at the moment for the Chiefs. Chiefs aren't clicking as they used to. Obviously, coming from that, I won't say humiliating loss, but it was a bit of a devastating one for them, the way they lost that
Mm.
game. So obviously,
Mm.
the confidence isn't that high. The defense isn't that great. Um, but yeah, for me, I agree with you. I've got the Lions winning here on Sunday night. Sunday night
Yeah.
game, the Lions winning.
Yeah, and to be fair, the last time Lions went into Arrowhead, they also won, and that was Brian Branch's first game as a rookie, and he scored a pick six as well.
Uh,
So I think the Lions have beaten the Chiefs at least twice in a row. So I don't see that changing anytime soon, if I'm honest with you. Yeah,
yeah.
the Lions. I think the Lions are well overdue to get to finally reach the Super Bowl because
Mm,
yeah, this crop of players, this backroom staff, they're just too good at the moment.
yes.
And yeah, I'd love to see them in the Super Bowl. Absolutely love. I think it would be justice for their hard work and dedication since coming from a one-win season. What was it, 5 seasons ago? The
Mm,
turnaround has been absolutely phenomenal.
yeah.
So yeah, absolutely clean as day. Lions over Chiefs for me. Get off. What's your second game?
We'll just cover the second game quickly. The Rams to beat the Ravens. I think we just mentioned that before, didn't we? Rams to beat the
Yeah,
Ravens.
I think
That's
it's a
our second on the five of the week.
yeah.
Interesting game here. Well, actually, before we speak of this one, we'll just talk about the Raiders quickly. Obviously, they're in a bit of a slump at the moment.
Hmm.
The Raiders are going up against the Tennessee Titans, who got their first win of the season. Um,
Yes,
a lot of mess going on behind the scenes at Cardinals, by the way,
there are.
with the running back situation and all that. The coach
Yeah,
has been fined over $100,000 for his interaction with the running back after what happened. You need to go back to watch that game if you guys don't know what's happened, but we
Fir-
won't cover it as much.
first time ever, Guitar, a coach has been fined for an altercation with a player. It's
Yeah,
never been done before.
yeah. It's happy
And I
announced as
believe
well,
and I believe Kyler Murray is out as well.
so it's
He's
not
out
looking good.
Sunday.
Yeah, not looking
So
good
it's not
for
good.
the Cardinals. But yeah, the Titans coming off their first win. But we've gone with the Raiders to win this one. I think, you know, with them being in a bit of a slump, let's be honest. But I think the Raiders being at home, um, I think they're just a little bit stronger of a team, a bit more quality than the Titans. Um, but you never know how Cam Ward is going to turn up on his day. He might be the best QB of the week. Who knows? But
Yeah,
we're going with Raiders for this one against the Titans. The next game we've got the NFC South Giants of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against
yeah,
the San Francisco 49ers. This is a very interesting one. Um,
yeah. So the two 4-1 teams, by the way, Guitar,
yeah.
despite all the injuries that's been going on in San Francisco,
Mm.
and we have to give them a shout out as well. We didn't give them a chance last week against the Rams on Thursday Night Football, didn't we?
Our five
And
of
then
the
lo and
week
behold,
was ruined after the first game.
absolutely. And Mac Jones just rocks up and probably plays the game of his life, if I'm honest with you. A
11
lot.
bananas, by the way, David. Yeah, 11 bananas during the game. That's
That
if that's not a secret weapon, I don't know what is.
Well, yeah, yeah. It's I don't know. It's kind of bizarre, and maybe it's a little bit worrying as well because his potassium intake is absolutely massive. But anyway, hey, like I said, if that means that he's gonna, if that improves his play, um, I don't know. I don't know if this is going to revive Matt Jones's career per se, but
Mm.
um, clearly he's looking very, very comfortable in that scheme, and I have to
Yeah,
say big props to to the San Francisco coach as well, Kyle Shanahan,
yeah,
because ultimately, my God, I don't know how he schemed that in order to beat the Rams. I thought that the Rams. I think everyone put that down as a Rams win and a comfortable Rams win as well.
yeah,
It was close in the end. It was only a 3 point game, but yeah. It turns out that the 49ers will be visiting the 4-1 Buccaneers, who themselves had a statement win at Seattle as well,
yeah,
despite Sam Darnold throwing 4 touchdowns. It was a late interception that sealed the game. But Gito, I know you're a Falcons fan, and are you able to appreciate what the Bucks are doing at the moment, and especially what Baker Mayfield and there is only one candidate. I think we keep on saying every single week one candidate for rookie of the year, Emeka Ibuka. He's done it again, over 100 yards, another touchdown. They just keep doing these fourth quarter wins, Guitar.
yeah. No, Mike Evans, not a problem. Is what it looks like, and I've obviously praised him enough during the last few months. How I love that they've drafted Emeka Egbuka, that wide receiver room when it's healthy. It's incredible. Uh,
Mm,
Baker Mayfield, he's baking. He's doing a hell of a job for the Buccaneers. But yeah, I see it being a two-horse race between us and the Bucks for the NFC South. I won't be surprised if we see both of them in the playoffs in the end. I think I predicted
yeah,
that at the start. But yeah, the Buccaneers, you have to appreciate what they're doing. They they just know how to get the win, and
yeah,
yeah, it's just clutch. It's yeah, they've got the skills to do it. But Baker Mayfield, he's had a very interesting NFL career in terms
yeah.
of where he's been. He's been at the Panthers, he's been to the Browns, and
Rams.
the Rams. Yeah, so it
Mm,
was his last chance at the Rams actually, and then they decided to play him in the fourth quarter, I believe, or in one of the
yeah,
games where the main quarterback was injured. But anyway, but yeah, he's had an incredible career, and obviously he's found his home now. The last few seasons in Tampa Bay, and everyone appreciates him. Tom Brady is praising him quite a lot as well, which is a massive getting the praise from Tom Brady. So he must be
mhm,
doing something right. We've got the Buccaneers to beat the 49ers this week. I
yeah.
believe the Buccaneers are playing at home. I
They
won't be
are.
surprised if it's another fourth quarter final drive kind of win. I can see it being a back and forth like a basketball game, points at both ends. But yeah, this is going to be a very exciting game to watch. 49ers, they're doing pretty well, like you said, despite their main injuries.
Mm.
But yeah, we've gone for the Buccaneers to win this one, and I'd agree with that.
I think Baker is playing so well at the moment that he has earned himself a contract extension.
Yeah,
Um, And yeah, like I said, although the Niners pulled off a miraculous win last Thursday, I just don't see Mac Jones backing up that type of performance once again, especially against the Bucks defense
yeah,
down in Tampa Bay. I think this is going to be a little bit more of a comfortable win for the Bucks,
mm. Mhm.
and I see them going 5-1.
Yeah,
So that would mean that yeah, the Falcons obviously puts a little bit of pressure on you guys to kind of, you know, keep pace with them. I think you're currently two games behind them. I know you're coming off a bye as well. Um, and ultimately, we're going to come to the Falcons next. But yeah, I see this a little bit more of a comfortable win for the Bucks
mm.
against the Niners. So let's get to it. Talking of the Falcons, get on.
Yeah,
You're at home against the Bills, coming off a loss, their first loss of the season against the Pats. We just talked about that. I've got the Falcons to win here because especially if your offense played like they did. last game before the bye. I can't see the Bills defense A stopping the run,
Hmm.
Algier and Bijan, and I don't see them stopping you through the air as well. Quite simply.
Yeah. Uh, our defense will have to step up a little bit here because obviously it is the Buffalo
Mm.
Bills. Obviously they're not doing as great at the moment, but we will have to step up. It's not going to be an easy game. But
Yeah.
yeah, as Falcons, I don't like to bet on my own team, to be honest with you, but I am happy
Mm.
to put the Falcons on this 5 of the week. We're coming off a bye week, an extended bye week, considering it's a Monday night football game. So
Yes.
and also, it's a throwback game for both teams as well. And we do pretty well when we play in our throwback jerseys. I think we have
Nice.
the best throwback jerseys in the league. It's nice and clean, by the way.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
it's a throwback. We
Debatable, but okay.
so a throwback at home as well. And yeah, like you mentioned, the Bills' running defense is not too great, and we've got probably one of the best, if not top two, in the league with Bijan Robinson. The best duo
100%.
with Algier as well. Everyone's healthy. Pitts is healthy. Darren Mooney's healthy. We've got Drake London starting to make catches again, which is great.
Yeah.
Ray McLeod is having a decent season, I have to say as well.
He
Our
is, isn't he? Fair
wide
play.
receiver three. I was quite worried with our wide receiver situation, obviously with the lack of quality and the lack of depth, but Ray, I've
Mm.
been quite impressed with him so far. We're getting sacks as well. So if our defense, obviously, they just need to click properly. They've done really well. We beat the Commanders in the last game before our bye week. If they perform like they did against the Minnesota Vikings in week two, we have a great chance to win this game. So I am
Yeah.
happy to put us in here. I am really looking forward to this game. It's going to be, it's a prime time game, so we have to step up as well. And you know, anything can happen against the Bills.
Yeah.
They can dethrone us, they can smash us by so many points, but the way they are at the moment, it's not going to be as open game. And I do see, I'll say I'm quite confident going into this game for as a Falcons
Yeah.
fan. So I'm quite happy with it.
I think the Bills are there for the taking, Guitar, quite
Mm.
simply. I think they've
Yeah,
been, I think, like I said, they've looked vulnerable these last two weeks.
yeah,
And finally they came up against good opposition because with all due respect, so far they played the Jets, they played the Dolphins, and they played the Saints.
mm.
So they haven't really had the only statement win that they had was against the Ravens, and that was a narrow win in week one.
Yeah,
And they ultimately gave up 40 points in that game as well. So you know they came up like I said against not the we're talking about the Patriots here as well. So
mm.
how are they going to fear coming up against um, one of the would ultimately get a top five offense for me in Atlanta, definitely on their day. But the
Yeah,
good thing for you and especially for the Falcons, Guitar, is on defense. Your rookies, God, they're playing well at the moment.
yeah. Yeah, I'll have. We were defense heavy in the draft as well, so which we had to do considering the amount of picks that we had. We had like the third or second lowest picks in the draft, so
Mm.
yeah, we did really well, and they're really starting to click now as well. The first week against the Bucks was a disappointing loss for them, but they stepped up against the Vikings. Obviously, week three we'll forget about that against the Panthers, but and then week
Mm.
four they did really well. We're starting to get some sacks now. I think we've got the highest sack rates in the league so far, and we're the number one
Have you?
defense in terms of ratings and stats in the league, which is very unlikely for the Falcons. So we're in a very
Yes.
decent position at the moment, and with the offense that we've got, we can go all the way. We really can. We have to believe that now. We just can't let it slip like the last few seasons. And we have to prove that we can beat the top teams. Obviously the Commanders who weren't as healthy as they have
Yeah.
been coming into us, but we've got the Bills now as well. Despite their recent form, um, we have to believe that we can beat them. And like I said, with the teams that we got a really good chance here. And yeah, it's going to be a very good game on Monday night.
Yeah. Raheem, obviously a former defensive coordinator,
Yeah,
clearly is. Well, yeah, he's transferring his scheme onto the defense, and like you said, the rookies are definitely
mm,
starting to shine for the Falcons as well. So yeah,
yeah,
I think so. You're 2-2 at the moment, aren't you? Coming off the bye.
2-2.
Um,
Yes.
yeah, so if you go 3-2, you're in a really strong place in the division as well with
Yeah.
Carolina, and and the Saints, obviously, although the Saints got their first win of the season.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so that's our five of the week. So should we quickly? We don't need to go into much detail about this because the London game. I do feel bad for anyone that's going to the London game this Sunday because unfortunately, well. Look, on the bright side, you're getting a Broncos team that have just beaten the Eagles. However, on the latter, you're getting an 0-5 Jets team who look like an absolute mess at the moment.
Yeah. It's it's a shame if you're a Jets fan, honestly, with the excitement of Justin Fields coming into it, and I was quite excited for them as well because I actually do like Justin Fields, but he's just not. Nothing's clicked for them so far. They're scoring points like everyone is, but they're just not winning the games, and they're the only team now that's 0-5. Obviously, the Saints won their first game against the Giants last week, which top notch to them. But yeah, the Jets, they're just not doing great at all at the moment. It's worrying signs for the Jets as well. I don't see it improving in the next few weeks, if I'm being completely
Neither do I.
honest. The Broncos are just too good. I don't know what the remaining fixtures are, but something has to click for them. They have to step up. The way they are at the moment, and with the mood in the camp, I'm just, I'm if I'm a Jets fan, I'm just not feeling it at the moment. And it's not a great time to
It's
go into London being 0-5. You want to see your team
no,
do well, and yeah, it's. I think it'll be another disappointing afternoon for them.
yeah. The thing for me with the Jets is okay. I know that Aaron Glenn is in his first season as a head coach, but like they don't seem to be reacting to their head coach that well. And another thing as well is, especially against the Dolphins in Week 4, they were just the amount of penalties that they had,
Hmm.
over 100 yards, and I think and then they were exposed on defense once again last Saturday when they got absolutely. Gito, can you remember who did they lose to on Sunday? Who did the Jets play on Sunday? I can't
The
remember who it
the
was.
Cowboys.
Oh, the Cowboys, yeah. And the Cowboys, put 30, 40 points on them as well. And, we're not talking about one of the upper echelon teams in the NFC here as well. So, yeah, the defense was supposed to be the Jets' strong point. Um, I don't know what's happened to Sauce Gardner, Guitar, but he is. Do you know what? All this hype, highest paid cornerback in the NFL.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, he is being exposed left, right, and center, and um, ultimately, I feel like he's been overhyped coming out of the draft. He had a brilliant rookie season. Apart from that, he's been really, really, really shocking. I have to say,
yeah,
especially. Um, if you put a fast receiver up against him as well, he tends to be very very handsy against. So like I said, yeah, the Jets defense are absolutely all over the place at the moment.
yeah,
So that's the London game. So Gitter, our last segment before we leave you today, um, we've said quarter of the way through the season we're going to do some rankings. So
yeah.
we've come up with our top five and our bottom five teams.
Yes,
Shall we start off, Gitter? Obviously, with the bottom five teams.
yes.
For me, these were pretty simple.
Hmm.
So do you want to start from 32?
Yeah, we'll start off from 32. We spoke about them already. We've gone with the Jets in the 32. The only team that's 0-5.
Yep.
Um, it was sort of debatable between the next team, but with being only 0-5, we had to put the Jets in there, and we spoke about
Hmm.
them. So there's nothing much more to say, to be honest. Of it.
Yep.
Jets is 32.
So 31 could be a number of teams, Guitar. A few of them are 1-4. It could either easily be the Titans, the
Yeah,
Dolphins, the Giants. I wouldn't put the Saints there because they played really well against the Bills and ultimately they beat the Giants as well.
yeah.
A number of those teams. However, ultimately at 31, we've gone with
The Cleveland Browns.
the Cleveland
Cleveland
Browns.
Browns. Yeah, we were debating putting them in rock bottom as well, but with Jets being the only team 0-5, we had to put the Browns up, give them 31 at least. But yeah, we spoke
Yeah.
about them at the top of the episode. Not a great team at the moment, obviously. Um, but they've got a very interesting quarterback situation now with Dylan Gabriel and Shadir Sanders. So it might
Mm.
it could only go up from here, I think. But will it? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, we've gone with the Browns. I agree with you, by the way, in terms of the Saints. We did debate putting the Saints in the bottom five, um, but obviously they've performed really well against the Bills, and they got their
Mm.
first win against the Giants. So I think we've just scraped them out of the top of the bottom five, and I agree with you on that one, David. So number 31, you just mentioned them, the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah. Just before we go into number 30 guitar, if we're talking outside the first 2 weeks of the season, if
Mm,
we're looking at the last 3 weeks of the NFL regular season, I would argue that we would put the Cincinnati Bengals in the bottom five as well,
mm,
with the way that they've performed.
yeah,
However, obviously, starting as 2-0, and obviously
yeah,
everything is circumstantial with Joe Burrow's injury as
mm,
well. They've escaped the bottom five because they're ultimately 2-3, so they've lost three on the bounce. And as we talked at the beginning of the episode, they will be they're going to run on the Joe Flacco train for the rest of the season, or until he gets injured, and then Jake Browning, or he gets benched once again.
yeah.
Wouldn't that be incredible? Wouldn't that be incredible if Joe Flacco would get benched twice in the same season by two different teams?
You, you'd just retire, wouldn't you? It's
Yeah, maybe.
you get to the age, he probably just doesn't care. He'd probably just
Yeah.
retire. Bengals probably a bottom 10 team. You know, that's probably safe to say,
Oh,
isn't
100%, 100%.
it?
I think they are this slightly. So if we're talking about the top five, obviously we've said the Saints aren't in. I think the Cardinals are pretty close to there as well, and I would
Yeah,
definitely include. I'd include the Bengals in the
yeah,
bottom eight, say,
mm,
at the moment.
yeah, yeah.
So we've gone. So we've
What's
gone.
your review on the Titans quickly?
Um, I think the Titans are okay. I've been encouraged by what I've seen from Cam Ward.
He stepped up
Um,
quite in the last few weeks or so, definitely.
and let's be honest. I mean, how is he staying upright
Mm,
in front of that O line? Because that O line is trash.
mm,
And he's not throwing apart from a few decent wide receivers. Apart from Ridley, really, Calvin Ridley, he hasn't got anyone to throw to either.
no.
Um,
Mm.
but he always seems to make a splash play. Cam Ward. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I think he has stepped up in the last couple of weeks.
Mm,
The first 2 3 weeks, I think the nerves got to him a little bit, and obviously they haven't
yeah,
performed really well. He's been
yeah,
doing some decent throws recently though, so you know something is starting to click there. But obviously, he doesn't have enough weapons. Calvin Ridley, obviously, but he's like in his 30s now, isn't he? Obviously, he's not really in his
yeah,
prime, so
yeah, yeah.
he doesn't have a lot of protection in that O line. I don't think either. So yeah,
Mm.
you know, they've got another good few years, I think. A few years, to be honest with you. A good few
Yeah.
years. So we've got them on
So
30.
yeah.
Um, yeah, we've gone with number 29, and I do feel bad about this because you did say we were going to talk about the Dolphins. Should we just skip it?
No, no, no. We can. Yeah, no, no. So we've got Sorry, so we've got the Jets at 32.
Yeah,
We've got
the Cleveland
the
Browns.
Browns at 31. We've got the Titans at
Yes.
30, and now we're at the Dolphins at 29.
Yeah.
Gitta, if I could, I'd put them lower after that humiliating loss to the Carolina Panthers on Sunday. The Dolphins were 17-0 up in
Yeah,
the second quarter.
yeah,
Um, the offense looked like they were clicking without Tyreek Hill. Jalen Waddle ultimately went over 100 yards. Um, Darren Waller, Gitta, in this game, caught another touchdown,
mm,
5 from 5, 75 yards. He was catching absolutely everything in the first and the second quarter, and then came that massive collapse. I knew that the run defense was going to be an issue. I didn't expect Rico Dowdle, Chuba Hubbard's backup, who was out of this game, by the way, to rush for 200 yards against the Dolphins. And it's just, um, Guitar, it was that bad that our safety, Minka Fitzpatrick, refused to talk to the media after the game,
Yeah.
and a lot of the media were questioning whether Mike McDaniel, our head coach, was ultimately going to get fired after the game. He didn't. The Dolphins are back at home against the Chargers on Sunday. Chargers have lost two in a row, by the way, and they're going to be without their running back Omarion Hampton for the next four
Mm.
weeks because he's gone on IR. Obviously, the Chargers have their own problems with their O line. They haven't got Rashawn Slater or Joe Alt at the moment.
Yeah.
Um, but I genuinely, like I said at the beginning, I think we are delaying the inevitable with the Dolphins. I think there's going to be a lot of firings coming up, potentially on Sunday or Monday morning if we lose,
Mm.
if we go 1-5.
Yeah.
So for me, the Dolphins are easily bottom five.
Yeah.
Absolutely no
Okay.
question about it. So
Mm.
Dolphins at 29. Who have we got in the
Um,
last position at
28.
28?
So the last of the bottom five, we have gone with the Las Vegas Raiders. Obviously, with the off season, I thought they had a pretty decent off season. I think they were on the same wavelength, kind of, as the Patriots. I think the Patriots had the better one, but obviously their quarterback moves, and obviously the new head coach. It was going to be a new era for the Las Vegas Raiders, but it's just hasn't clicked so far. They're pretty trash, to be completely honest, I've had. It's not looking good for them. We've got them, five of the week this week. They're playing against the Titans. If they don't get the win against the Titans, then there's just no point anymore, is there? So we've gone with the Raiders to complete our bottom five.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think they look worse on defense than they do on offense at the moment. Obviously, with Gino, the Ashton Genty
Yeah,
having a tough start to his NFL season, would you say? I mean, I think he had one good game, but to be fair with him, I think we have to look at how bad that O line as well. I mean, he's got no running lanes whatsoever, has he?
no, no, it doesn't look good. And I've got him in my fantasy as well, so I want him to do really well.
I didn't want to
But
say that, but yeah, I noticed that you
I
did.
want him to do
Yeah.
well, but it's just not happening at the moment. So,
It's
and
all. Are you tempted to switch? Are you tempted to switch him out, or no?
I don't know. I have been looking on the market,
Okay,
and obviously
who's
with the
out there?
Dodgers as well. So I can't remember off the top of my head. I think one of our
Okay,
players is looking for a trade as well. So,
fair.
well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm expecting something to click, but I'm just delaying, on my so yeah, we'll have to wait and see. So
yeah.
yeah, the Raiders.
You might be
Yeah,
waiting for a while. Unfortunately, with the Raiders this year, Gito, I
yeah,
think it's like you said, they're a project. Uh, change of change of environment, like you said, with the new
yeah,
head coach and Pete Carroll. Tom Brady's on board as an advisor. Like you said, a lot of Ashton Genty as their first round pick, and outside really of Max Crosby on defense, there isn't much to rave about, unfortunately.
mm,
So yeah, they're definitely going to be a project, and like I said, easily a top five, a bottom five team in the NFL at the moment,
yeah.
hands down. And ultimately they're in a really tough division with the Chargers, the Chiefs, and the Broncos as well.
What they're doing at the
So
moment, yeah,
you know,
it's yeah. Should we go to our
cool.
top five?
Absolutely. Let's switch to top five. Okay, so who have we got in fifth position?
Well, just before, I think we need to do a little bit of a spoiler alert here for our
Okay.
fans and viewers. This top five does not include the Colts, does not include the 49ers, does not include the Broncos, and does not include the Chargers. So just
I
to let
would,
people
I
know.
would, I would, I would agree with all of those statements.
Hmm.
Although I did have a cheeky look around the league at on some of the rankings, I did see the Colts up there 5.
Hmm.
Um, I saw the Jaguars up there just outside the top 5 as well.
Hmm.
And for me, even though the 49ers are 4-1, I'd still probably squeeze them into the top 10, but not near the top 5.
Yeah, same. Yeah, they don't feel like a 4-1 team, do they?
Nope, nope.
Which is very
Absolutely.
strange to say, but it just doesn't feel like a 4-1
Well,
team.
ultimately, come end of the season, Gito, they might be frauds. You
Exactly.
never know. You have some teams that are complete frauds, unfortunately,
Yeah.
and they're just right. They're riding their luck at the moment.
Hmm.
Um, and ultimately, their injuries are going to catch up with them surely.
Yeah.
So yeah. So anyway, so let's tackle our top five. Who have we got at number five?
So at number five, we've got the LA Rams at number five. I think that's a pretty fair statement, to be honest, considering how they're doing. And
Yeah,
being 3-2, they've got a game against the Ravens this weekend. Um, yeah, they've got Ravens this weekend. Yeah, so the Rams are number five. I'm quite happy with that.
yeah. I've seen in some of the rankings that the Rams are outside of the top five, and I guess I could see the argument there because
Yeah.
they had they had a tough loss against the Niners on Thursday night. And their defense as well, perhaps maybe haven't been kind of, up to par, especially the D line,
Mm.
as I was expecting. But the combination of Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams is definitely working, and Kyron Williams at running back as well. And
Yeah.
Matt Stafford ultimately looks like he looks the real deal at the moment. So the Rams, I think in time, give them towards the end of the season, potentially they're going to be a team that's going to make a run like they did last year when they did a run at into the playoffs and
Yeah.
they played the Philadelphia Eagles very very close in the divisional round. But yeah, easily top five for me.
Yeah, happy with that. Going up to number four, the team I hate to love, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, this is another no-brainer to me,
Yeah.
especially I think we talked about it with especially with Godwin and Evans and Mike Evans have been out over the last couple of weeks. What Egbuka has been able to do over these last five games as a
Mm.
rookie is absolutely extraordinary. His
Sensational.
chemistry
Yeah.
his chemistry with Baker has been there since week one. And they've been running the ball really, really well. And like we said, they keep making habit of getting these fourth quarter wins. And a big statement win, like we said, at Seattle, who are another good team at 3-2 as well.
Yeah.
So absolutely, yeah, no brainer for me. Tampa Bay at four.
Yeah. Yeah. Happy with that. We could have squeezed them to top three, couldn't we?
Yeah,
To be
absolutely.
honest, to be honest, we could
Yeah,
have. Number
yeah,
three, we've gone, and this is it got a little bit tougher with top three with the order. I think number one is
easy. Yeah,
pretty easy.
yeah.
Third and second was a little bit, bit of a mix and match. We've gone with Eagles third and Bills second.
Yes, again, after thinking about this, Gito, maybe I would have switched those two around, especially with. But then again, neither team have really performed
Mm.
well, apart from maybe the Bills, with that statement victory against the Ravens. Okay, the Eagles went into Arrowhead and beat the Chiefs. However, like I said, they didn't run the ball well.
Yeah,
They had to rely on the defense. Jalen Hurts looked really really dodgy in that game. He hardly threw for over 100 yards. I think Chris Jones, the defensive lineman for the Chiefs, was caught on the microphone saying when the Eagles were kneeling at the end of the game when they won. They said, I think Chris Jones said, "Come on, Jalen, you hardly threw for 100 yards." And I
yeah,
think Jalen came back and said, "Shut up, at least we won," and things
yeah.
like that. So but yeah, just two very very strange teams, Guitar. Although they're at 4-1, coming off really disappointing losses at home.
Mm.
So like you said, we could have switched them Eagles, Bills, second or third. But like you said, there's a big gap for me between these two and the top team that we have at the top.
The top seed, yeah, 100%. No one is coming close, especially in the NFC. Nobody is coming close to this team at the moment. Number one, and we've spoken about them before in this episode. The Detroit Lions,
Yeah.
if they were destined for the Super Bowl last season, they have to go further. This and they obviously lost in the divisional round against the
Yes.
Commanders. They have to go further. Obviously, they lost in the NFC Championship against 49ers, but that was obviously that was probably a step too far for them. Um,
Hmm.
but this year, if they weren't destined for it last season, they certainly are destined for it this season to do the Super Bowl. We could see the top
Yeah.
two teams in the Super Bowl with how the Lions and Bills, but we've got plenty of time for that one. I've just realised as well, our top five is very NFC heavy as well, apart from the Bills.
Doesn't happen very often, does
It
it?
doesn't happen often. No, no.
It's usually AFC heavy, especially if the Bills, Chiefs, Ravens,
Hmm.
Bengals as well, potentially if
Yeah,
they're firing all cylinders. Um, Gito, just before we leave,
yeah,
how far would you rank? How far away are these two teams? Firstly, the Pittsburgh Steelers,
yeah,
and in the NFC, Green Bay, because maybe the only other team that I would consider putting in the top five, although they have been disappointing these last 2 weeks, are the Green Bay Packers, just
yeah.
because of how they started the season.
Hmm. Um, do they have room? Do they have room for both in top 10?
Oh, definitely top 10.
Yeah,
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 100%.
yeah. So considering how the Colts, the Chargers, the 49ers are doing, the
Exactly.
Broncos
Yeah,
are doing,
Colts as well. Yeah, you forget
you'd have
the
to you'd
Colts.
have
Yeah.
to put them. Yeah, I was thinking about the Falcons as just on top of my head earlier, and I think I've got them. If I was to rank them, probably below the top 10, probably about 12th, 13th,
Yeah, I think
respectfully,
so.
respectfully for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, but yeah, the Green Bay. I loved how they started, but obviously they've lost a game. They got a tie against the Cowboys. We have to think about the Cowboys as well. They're not doing as bad. Do you have room for them in 10th, 11th, lower
I
than
wouldn't. I
Falcons?
personally, I wouldn't put them above the. I wouldn't put them above the Falcons
Okay, I'm
personally.
happy to hear that.
No. uh,
Got a
no,
smile on your face.
I'd put them around
Mid,
midway, probably
yeah,
14, 15 at the
yeah.
moment, I think. Yeah.
It's week 5, and it's a very strange season. It seems reversed somehow.
Yeah.
With how teams are doing, with the teams that are not performing well, that should be performing well.
Yes.
You mentioned the Steelers as well. Steelers, I think they're doing pretty well. I think they're okay. Obviously, not as convincing as we thought, but obviously they've had some good wins here and there. They're top of their division. It's quite
The only
clear as
thing,
well.
sorry, Gito, the only thing that I'll say about the Steelers is when they came up against a good team, i.e., when they lost to the Seahawks, I feel
Yeah,
like they were exposed. Their deficiencies were exposed.
yeah,
So I'll hold judgment. I'll wait until I see uh, when they come up against a decent team, because ultimately they've beaten the Vikings in Dublin. They haven't really had another statement game. They beat the Jets, so and they lost to the Seahawks. So I can't really judge them by their schedule at the moment.
yeah,
But that's just my take anyway.
yeah, yeah. No, yeah, it's a bit of a funny one with the Steelers. It's always like the same old story. They've not had a losing season in the 11th season, so I
I
mean,
know.
but obviously we're still quite far away from the end of the regular season here. It'll be interesting to see where the Steelers do end up finishing here. Uh,
Hmm.
with Aaron Rodgers, will he last the whole season? Obviously, it's in his last season. So it's his final hurrah. So it
Well,
would be interesting to see how he ends.
Gitter, let's be honest. The Steelers are never going to have a better opportunity to win the division
Yeah,
with the state of the other teams, the Bengals, the Browns, and the Ravens. The honestly, unless the Ravens make a run
hmm.
after they get Lamar back after they bye, the Steelers are going to walk that division because I don't see the Bengals winning and I don't see the Browns winning either.
Yeah,
Um, so that might be by mid-season, that might be, you know, pretty cut and dry for the Steelers to win the division.
yeah, yeah. I think it is the best chance to do it. They have to keep the momentum going. They're just coming off a bye week now as well, and they're playing the
Hmm.
Browns this weekend. And I think they've got the Browns the next couple of weeks as well after that. So they've got
Yeah,
two good opportunities to do the double there against the Browns, and I think they've got the Ravens coming up soon as well. Deflating
yeah,
Ravens. Maybe Lamar will be back for that one. Who knows?
yeah,
But yeah, no, and a very interesting AFC. Not just the AFC that division, but the AFC as a whole. Um,
absolutely.
it's the AFC Colts are the number one seed at the moment. Obviously, it's too early to predict the playoff picture, but the AFC the Colts are holding the number one seed at the moment. So
What,
they've
even above the Bills?
the Bills are second. I'll go through it really quickly
Wow.
actually before we end the
Yeah,
episode.
yeah.
There's a playoff picture after week 5 post from the NFL on Twitter here. So
Okay.
AFC number from 1 to 7, the Colts, the Bills, the Steelers are third, Chargers are
Yeah.
fourth, the
Yeah.
Jaguars are fifth, the Broncos are sixth, and the Patriots are seventh. So that would be the playoff picture if it finished today. In the
That
NFC,
is.
yeah,
Yeah.
in the NFC, we've got Eagles first, 49ers second, the Buccaneers third, the Lions are fourth, Green Bay Packers
What?
are fifth, Seattle Seahawks are sixth, and a team we haven't actually mentioned in seventh, the Minnesota Vikings.
Really?
Mm, yeah,
I thought it would have been the Commanders
yeah,
in front of the Vikings.
nowhere to be seen.
How are the li
Commanders top 10?
how are
Commanders top 10? Top halfway?
oh n
Mm,
no, I think
yeah,
they're closer to halfway at the moment. Yeah,
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 yeah. They got a statement win against the Chargers on the weekend. So, and Jaden Daniels was back for that game as well.
yeah.
I think they completely outplayed the Chargers, I believe. But yeah, mad that the Lions are our fourth seed after all of that. It's absolutely wild. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
nuts.
no, that's very, very interesting. The
And it'll be
AFC
interesting as well
especially.
and it'll be interesting as well to see how our rankings shape up in the next 4 to 5 weeks as well. If it's
Probably going to
changed
be
as much, it'll be completely
probably.
different. Who
Yep.
knows? But yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see. Yeah,
Maybe I'm guessing there might be more change at the top than the bottom. I
I think so.
think
I think so.
personally,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So there we are, Guitar. I think we've covered pretty much. Well, I'd like to say everything, but we haven't covered everything. Obviously, we've covered the majority. We've tried our
Yeah.
best anyway, and to pick ourselves through the highlights there of week 5. So moving on to week 6. Obviously, you've got our 5 of the week. Really looking forward to that game. I'll definitely be staying up on Sunday night to watch Lions at Chiefs. Can't wait for that. What a matchup! Absolutely
Yeah.
brilliant. And Guitar, best of luck against the Bills. Come on, you have to do this. You have to give the Bills a second loss.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that. And like I said, we're not going to talk about the Dolphins because it's not worth wasting my breath at the moment, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah.
So there we are. If you've enjoyed this episode, please check it out. It'll be up on our YouTube page within the next couple of days. Just search NFL Cymru. We're also on the show socials, or I should say, Gitto is all over the socials on Instagram at NFL Pod and on Twitter/X as well.
Mm.
So yeah, there's plenty of movement going on there as well. Gitto, there will be some collabs coming up in the next couple of weeks. We're
Cool.
going to have some former contributors of the pod, maybe at mid-season, checking on to see how their teams are doing.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, 2 past contributors, their teams are doing very, very well. One has just had their first win of the season, so he's probably having his best week for a long, long, long time. Talking about Kananano, obviously. So yeah, we'll definitely get some more contributors on the pod very, very shortly. But for now, Gitor, potentially I'll see you over the weekend because you're down in Cardiff
Down in Cardiff.
for a football game or for a soccer game.
Mm.
Wales against Belgium. This is a massive game for
Yeah.
us here.
Yeah. It's gonna be a heavy night as well. Wales against Belgium, and then after that, I'm gonna have to find a way to watch a Monday night football game.
Oh
Falcons and
yes,
Bills. So we'll see
God.
if anyone in Cardiff will be happy to show that game.
That could that could be, Gito, one of the best evenings of your life, seeing Wales beat Belgium and the Falcons beat the Bills.
Oh,
Or, well, we won't talk about the alternative. We won't talk about
no.
that. So yeah, no, we're going to leave that there. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed the pod. We'll be back next week for another episode rather, here on the NFL Cymru podcast. Thank you all for your support. Diolch yn fawr iawn i chi gyd. But for now, from us, peace out. See you soon.